Okay, so if you're here, you probably hear me, and my camera is hitting white out and crazy stuff. Hold on. Let me get my chat open. Hold on. I know my face is washed out a little bit. Pop out. And pop out chat. I know I'm on kick, so hold on. I didn't realize I had that all disorganized. Pop out. Okay, so that's been done. Organize my chat windows. Hey everybody, how's it going? Crazy Saturday. Hope you're all doing okay. I'm doing fine. I just want to thank each and every one of you. So I'm just going to wait till everybody shows up. This was an exciting day. I woke up and I thought, okay, I'm going to have a premiere, which I had at 12 p.m. Eastern. And I thought, heck, we're going to have a bunch of PCC, People's Call Center videos. And I thought, that's kind of cool. So I thought I'd attend them. I just want to let you guys know what my thoughts are on the ScamBaiter community. Um, I've been a ScamBaiter now for almost 7 years. I mean, I've been doing this for quite a while. I never thought that it would come to this. I honestly, the first time I called a scammer, it was because they annoyed the crap out of me and I wanted them to go away. I wasn't thinking that I would actually turn it into a career of any kind. It kind of dawned on me as I went along that there was an opportunity here, but I still didn't feel that it warranted, not quitting a job, but turning it into something that was important to me. I mean, if you look and think about calling scammers on a day-to-day basis, what is it going to benefit? I mean, it's kind of a silly process if you think about it, because um, the minute you talk to them, you know right away they're a bunch of jokesters. They're uneducated. They're often young. Scammers aren't that old. I mean, I I have met some scammers that were of age. I would say maybe in their 30s or their 40s. But almost every time when I talk to a scammer, they're almost always between the age of 18 to 24 years old. So that has to mean a lot. I mean, how old do you think the scammers are? I mean, just type in the chat. Every time I talk to a scammer, what age do you expect? I want to blow my chat up a little bit so I can see it easier. 25, that's a good guess. 20, that's a good guess. 24. So, they're young. I mean, they're between, you know, the legal age in India is 18. Um, literally, 18 years old. It's either 16 or 18. I've heard different takes on it, but we know they're in India or Pakistan. That doesn't mean that the countries of India or Pakistan are bad countries. I often will compare and say, before you start blaming India, you need to look at California or even Washington or Seattle or Portland and ask yourself the question, in California, if you're caught breaking into a car window, you're not going to go to jail. You're going to be told that's a no-no. You're going to get a slap on the wrist. Okay, you bounce back 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you break into that same car, you're going to go to jail. So if in California you can break into a car and not go to jail, times that by 3,000, and that's what you see in India. What you see is a country is that encumbered by society. And notice I say society. I'm not saying they're encumbered by crime. I'm saying that India is encumbered by its society. And when that happens, you have to think about what that country does, how it deals with its people. Like, if you look at the United States, what does the United States consider to be the highest crime? What is the highest crime in the United States? Traitorism? I would say terrorism, traitorism, mass murder. I mean, those things top the list. No, I'm talking crimes that actually get categorically convicted. These are dirty politicians get away with crime. But in the United States, I mean, when you look at the country as a whole, what is its top priority? It'll be terrorism, tops, traitorism, tops. Lately, you would see talk of sedition, which is internal conflict, but I think the top crimes would be terrorism, mass murder, um, things like that. And so I actually read a article written by Modi, he's the Prime Minister of India, that pretty much said that cybercrime was its fifth most listed crime. And so you got to understand that India is huge. India is a big country. They have the most people in the world right now. They have the greatest population. And so when that happens, like for example, if I was to go, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a place in America I could go. If I were to go to Reno, Nevada, okay, and I wanted to get a job that was under the table, that would be a lot easier to do in Reno, Nevada than it would in Boise, Idaho. It would be really easy to get an under the table job in Los Angeles or Seattle, Washington than it would be in, let's say, I want to say Salt Lake City. You're not going to find much under the table jobs in Salt Lake City. There's a reason why I'm saying this. Under the table jobs, what do you think an under the table job is? Does anyone know what an under the table job is? Exactly. It's paid off the books, no taxes. Exactly. Cash only. So if you think about it, in your area do you know of any opportunities, maybe Craigslist, where you can do a job and not have to pay taxes, you know? So that's what I'm talking about. In India, it's big. I mean, when a person becomes of age in India, I I can't say this I can't say this with certainty, but what I've read is that's completely normal to work a job under the table. So think about it. They go to work for a scammer and it's under the table. So It's real easy for these young people to go take these jobs and not think that they're scamming jobs. Or I could imagine, just based on my conversations with them, a lot of them go to these jobs and many of them probably say to their brain that they're going to work for 3 months. They might actually say they know it's suspicious, but they're going to just work it long enough to pay a bill. So that's what I'm seeing. And this is just me talking to scammers for almost 7 years. That's why I don't have, that's why you won't find me flying to India to beat the living shit out of the scammers that I'm talking to. Because I don't think they're your, I don't think, given the type of crime that they commit, it's more of an aggregate crime. Um, it's the scammer boss. That's the one that I want to beat the crap out of. I, I don't want to beat up Mandy Jones. How can I? Mandy Jones. Remember me? I talked to her the other day. Do you think I should go find Mandy Jones and take that woman and call her a B word and slap her around and say, you dirty, in person, and say, you skank? What are you doing? Aunt Mandy was cool. She was actually pretty cool. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about the fact that the scammers, many of them are actually trying to make a living. And that's the frustration I think any scam baiter must come to. You know, you're talking to a person who might actually think that they're doing something okay. Um, no, it's true. I mean, it's a shame, but what does happen is when a person becomes a scammer, some of them are actually rewarded for good performance. That's when greed comes into play. So it is possible for a scammer to score big and be celebrated, and then they might break off and become their own scammer boss. You know, that's always hearsay and that's always possible, you know. No, I agree with that, Iceman. The other thing that does happen is when a when an innocent person becomes a scammer, as the months go by, they start to talk to their coworkers, and just the pure act of doing that causes them to form a callousness toward what they're doing. So they can start off not hating the Western world, but as they delve into their job and they see the their other friends talk about their failures, they'll say, "I just got yelled at by a dumb white woman who wouldn't believe what I was saying," and then they start to form camaraderie, and then over time, that's why I say, after 3 months in the pit, they start to harden and they can become some pretty rotten people. They really can. That's why, you know, when I'm almost tempted when I talk to a scammer, put up a graph and let you guys vote. Are they new? Are they fresh? Are they are they conquered? Are they corrupted? You know? I have a feeling though that they don't feel that way about us at all. I mean, you have to allow your mind to stretch a little bit. What would you do if you were in India and you had to take a job like the scammers? I mean, have you ever posed that question? Because I have. I've asked my question. Um, I wouldn't kill myself. I would quit. I, I don't know. I've many times posited in my head, what would I do if I had starving family and I needed to get a job and I didn't know about ZipRecruiter, so I just simply looked at Facebook and I saw an ad for Amazon. And so I eat what I can, I get dressed as much as I can, and I don't know, get over there, whether it be on foot or by a friend's ride or I walk, and I go in, and it's a somewhat okay looking building. I walk in, I go up the stairs, and then I talk to them, and they give me a piece of paper, and I have to read it, and then they say I'm hired. So that's how you get hired as a scammer. And then you have to show up the next day in the early hours of the morning. Probably I say around 12 midnight, 1 a.m., probably 12. And then you go in and you've started your scamming job. And you do your job for the day and you get paid in cash. That's a big deal. I mean, you get paid and you get to take that home and you feed your family. So that's what happens to them. No, you never resorted to scamming, but I, I'm not trying in any way, shape, or form to make the scammers better than they are. But I think after being a scam baiter for 7 years, I've started to realize some of the dummies that I talk to aren't the hardened criminals that some of us think or say. Some of them are really bad. I mean, when they get really upset and start yelling, how do you gauge that? Do you think that they're more evil than Mandy? Is Mandy more evil than the one that yells quicker, or is Mandy the one that's evil? So, how do you rate your evil? So, I just want you to think about it. I mean, I those are the scammers. So, I'm done with that. That's something that's always on my mind. I'm always thinking about the scammers because I'm particularly hard on them. I really am. I mean,
I say, so, David, um, what's his name? You know, in an attempt to jab at David, you know, and David is like,
uh, no, I'm not, I'm a heterosexual, but I'm always taking jabs at them. And then I say,
don't call me ma'am. I'm not a ma'am. Call me Miss Jennifer or call me Miss Mary. Not Mistress Mary, Mrs. Mary. So,
I don't feel bad when I do that, but I, what I want to do is jar them and make them regret what they're doing. But at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, why are they there to begin with? Um, some of them, like I said, and most of you know, after 3 months, they become rotten to the core, and they can be quite bad. So, you know what I wish? I wish I was rich. I wish I was uber rich, like Elon Musk, and had an epiphany and said, let's go to India and fix this shit. If I could do that, I would. I would fix the shit. I would go to India. I would go down to Kolkata. I would install like 4 people that would act like managers, and they would be experts at helping these people find regular jobs. That's what I would do. If I could. I mean, that's my thought. I would love to nip it in that bud, and then at the same time, I want all of America to watch my effing videos so those dumb grandmas and grandpas can finally get it and stop falling for these idiots in India, you know? If that's what I would do. I'm not a billion zillionaire though. So the only thing I can do is the other side, as I can educate the public, and show how ridiculous these scammers are. So anyway, those are just some thoughts. I want to do a special shout out to all the scam baiters that are doing what I'm doing. I think it's awesome what we're doing. Um, you know what takes to be a scam baiter? I mean, I I've been doing this since 2016, late 2016. Um, and when I first started, I would literally look for a tech support scammer pop up, and I I was unemployed at the time. I'm still unemployed, but I was uber unemployed, and I was trying to watch a damn movie for free on the internet, and the stupid pop-ups were interrupting me. So I got fed up, and I said, I'm going to call them jerks. So I picked up the phone and I called them, and I was shocked at how stupid they were. I really was, because I'm a computer person by trade. I've been a computer guy all of my life. And here's this pop-up telling me that my computer was infected and blocked. And I got pissed off because I was trying to watch a movie. The name of the movie was Robinson Crusoe on Mars. I just wanted to watch a damn movie. I wanted to watch a movie, and this pop-up kept bugging me. So I called them. I called the tech support scammer, and what I discovered was an entire world of insanity. It was humor waiting to be unleashed. I could not believe how unequipped these tech support scammers were. They didn't listen to me. I said, there's no way a web page could scan my computer at that speed. You got to be kidding. That's what I was telling them. And they said, no, you're being hacked. And I hung up on them. And so after about a week of doing it, on a Saturday, I went through and looked at all my clips, and I uploaded my first video. It said, this stupid scammer tried to charge me $3,000 to fix my computer. Seriously. They wanted to charge me $3,000 to fix a $1,200 computer. That's how stupid they were. And I was like, really? So that's what started me, you know. But I want to say that there's other scam baiters like Scammer Payback. You would not believe what I received a couple of months ago. I'm going to share it right now. Let me change my screen. I was just minding my own business, and I got this thing this thing was delivered to me, and I was like, the hell is this? I got that. It was a box, and I opened it, and I went like this, and I said, holy shit. And I got this USB stick. I don't have it handy. And I put it in, and it had that Scammer Payback video that you've seen. Deo had it at the intro of his premiere today. And it's an actual suitcase type thing. It's really cool. All I can say about Pierogi is that dude is very dedicated to fighting scammers. I love scammer payback. I I can't say enough good things about Pierogi. When I got to meet him, he's like 6'10". He's tall. He's taller than me, and he's a very nice person. He's really humble. When in the first scammer call center that we did, we went out to restaurants, and I was just sitting at the table, and he came over to me and he said, "Dude," and he patted me on the shoulder and he gave me a fireball, and I sucked it down, and I was like, "Dude, thank you." I love Pierogi. He's he's a godsend to scam baiting. He really is, and he really, really put in an effort to make this gathering possible. I love it. And then I got to meet Carl Rock. Um, Carl Rock, it's hard to describe him. He's like the brother that you've always wanted, but he's also your best friend. That's what Carl Rock is like. And he's also like somebody that you would want to sit down and have lunch with. Carl Rock is a very sweet person. He really, really gets into what he's doing. And then Deo. Deo's like a true bro. I love Deo. Deo's somebody that I might say something and he might say, "Dude, why'd you say that?" I love Deo. I he could tell me to do something and I would do it. That's how much I respect Deo. And then I got to meet Skeleton Siski. Talk about a fine comrade. I loved meeting Skeleton Siski. I got to see him without his mask. The dude's great. He's a great, I guess you can call him a bloke. I I I love talking to Skeleton Siski. And then Pleasant Green, he's in my state, and I can't say he's also tall. Ben is 6'10". He's way up there. I love Ben. Pleasant Green. That guy does his own special thing. He really does. Ben is a he's a good person. And no, I plan to one day, I'll pay for it. I want to meet him at a Ruby River. There's one in Salt Lake City and there's one in Ogden. And I would like to buy him a dinner because he needs to be interviewed. And I love Pleasant Green. And then there's Trilogy Media. Um, I I can't say enough good things about Trilogy Media. Art and Ashton are the most adventurous and skilled, gifted people I've ever worked with, and they care. I love them both. Ashton is they're almost I want to say Jerry Lewis, and I love them both. I love Art. I love Ashton. They're Art is he's such a he's so excited all the time. I mean, he really is. I love Art. I made a 3D model of Art. That's how much I love the guy. And Ashton, I love his Mortimer and his old man's voice. And you know what? I have to say this. I keep saying it in a stream. Their videos are the most sharpest, most well edited productions. And to be honest, when I go to do Meet the Huckers, I'm going to talk to Trilogy Media because those guys are the ones. They actually reached out to me when I announced I was a full time streamer. Art and Ashton piped in and wanted to wish me good luck. That's how much they are really good guys, and I love them. Even um I just can't say it. And I got to meet IOL Rosie as well. You know, IOL Rosie, she's a treat. She really is. She's a gifted voice actress. She's actually has credits in movies. So those are the ones that were my main points. I did get to meet. Um, I got to meet Nanobaiter. I got to meet the Midnight. I got to meet John Hammond. Um, I there was a lot to absorb, and I was I was I'm very humbly so glad I was invited. I really am. So I kind of opened my stream in a weird way. I was talking about scammers and why they do what they do. Um, I think all of us, to some degree, you'll see it with most of the scam baiters. You'll see that at times each one of us has always tried to help a scammer deconvert. And it's because we know that life is difficult in India, and a lot of the characters that we come across, we can kind of read them after talking them to so much that these scammers aren't quite the criminals that are really running the operation. And if you look at Scammer Payback, they're always talking about the scammer bosses and some politicians that are actually working with these scammers. So what I try to do in my brain is I try to say, um, where in America is it like India? And the closest I can get is in certain cities, like in Los Angeles or in Chicago. You'll find that crime is permitted. And I want you to think about this. In some cities in our own country, crime is actually permitted because they don't go to jail when they do certain things. Times that by 3,000, and that's where you get India. So, what I'm trying to do is try to take the pressure off of the Indian government and make you understand it is not India that is corrupt. It's a small faction of criminals that are taking advantage of the society that they're in. And so when that happens, you're going to find ragtag individuals like Mandy Jones, who sounded fresh, who sounded like somebody that probably regretted what she was doing. And you'll find, I don't know, the person that took advantage of Susan, the person that turned that Susan person into a mule. His name was John. He was really corrupt. But I can guarantee you, when I talk to these scammers, if I get a hint of willingness to change, I will always try to do something. At the expense of my bait, I might actually show them ziprecruiter.in. And it's because I care about people. I think fighting crime can take place on two fronts. You can save victims. You can also rehabilitate the criminals. You can get them to stop. In this case, it's quite unusual because the scammers themselves are not hardened criminals. They are merely pawns working for, even to some degree, the scammer bosses. These are useful idiots that really don't know what they're doing. Um, and the problem is things switch so fast, society moves at such a rapid pace that at no one time can you call that criminal a criminal, because they might actually move on and do something honest. But those pawns, those scammers that we actually talk to, are the ones that we direct our ire at. And more often than not, you might not, it's hard to accept, but they themselves, to a degree, have been scammed. They've been scammed out of a life. And that's why, probably explains why, after I go through a scam bait where I yell at them so hard, I literally get a kind of depression. I feel bad about what I did, because I know that that person did not set out to destroy life. It's yeah, there's no, it's never black and white. It's never black and white. And I'm the type of person that will always give a person a chance, unless you're throwing knives at me. But if you're just simply behind the phone, you may not know it, but I'm actually rating that person hundreds of times a second. I'm trying to determine if I'm dealing with an actual newbie, and questions come into my brain. What can I do as Raymond to make the world a better place? And it's always been save the victim, but I've always wondered, what can I do, if ever, if I'm ever afforded, to make things better for these people in India? Because I really don't. I love India. I think India is precious. Um, I just watched another Car Rock video where he showed us another temple that makes the Taj Mahal look small. It's an ancient one that was buried. So again, another bump for Car Rock. He showed us a temple that was buried in the dirt that makes the Taj Mahal look like child's play. That's the kind of guy Carl Rock is. So, in as much as I can do, I'm in Salt Lake City. I'm a dumb scam baiter. I like to call these dummies up, but it just so happens I actually care about the scammers to a degree. I care more about our victims, don't get me wrong. And I'm always going to be a crime fighter, so to speak. I'm always going to be someone that cares more about the crime itself and trying to stop the crime. But there's always a part of me that has it in my brain to try and care about the the cause of the crime and try to find a possible way to combat the crime. And then my next thing in life is Meet the Huckers, and it's an all-out assault on scamming by educating the public. And I think that's the best direction I can take, is if I can make the public laugh and cry about the subject of scammers, and if I can bring it real in any way, shape, and form, and if I could show the public that don't be duped by these petty criminals, even though they're taking thousands of dollars, they're still petty in the fact that they're not designing the crime, they're reading scripts. That's what makes them dumb criminals. Um, I just might make more change. My effort might be better placed if, yeah, and call pimping. Um, Trust me, my goal in life with this scam baiting is to minimize the damage that is occurring to the folks in my country, Canada, the United Kingdom, pretty much the Western world, and that includes Australia, even though they're not in the West. Anywhere where there's freedom, anywhere where these scammers target. I've seen pop ups in Germany, by the way, and I'm seeing them in Finland. They run these pop ups in Japan, even. So it's not just those countries. It's the fact that innocent people are being taken advantage of. And what I want to do is utilize my intelligence, my compassion, and you may not like it. I'm a religious person. I believe in God. I believe that this is what God wants me to do. You can be an atheist and still root for me. I like atheists too. It's morally correct if you're an atheist. Um, it's the right thing to do to try and minimize what we see. If it weren't for us, I mean, that's the nature of scams and scammers of that type. They weasel their way into the fabric of law and they find a way to escape law. We saw that when banks started requiring the form that you fill out when you withdraw $10,000 or more. The first thing that scammers did, I think it took like 3 to 4 months, is they started having victims get gift cards. So they saw that they can't go to the bank anymore, so let's do gift cards. And we saw the same transition, and it's big right now with Bitcoin. So most scammers are pushing for Bitcoin, and it's because it helps them escape the law. So what we scam baiters need to do is find how to leverage that knowledge. And one way, and I saw Ben do that in his scam baiting PCC video, simulate a trip to the Bitcoin machine. And then I guess if I'm wasting the scammer's time, pretend to send it to the wrong Bitcoin wallet. That'll be the most frustrating punch to the scammer. You saw a huge effort with, and thank God Pierogi's taking it up, spying on scammers, interrupting scams. You know, there's a lot of ways we can attack this problem. What's interesting, and it does make you feel bad, but don't feel bad. I always say, thank God I cannot call the cops on a money mule, because at least in America, if I could call a cop on a money mule, you would not want to live here, because I could go to 7-Eleven, I can call some chick fat, she can find out where I live, call the cops and claim that I'm a criminal, and the cops would come take me. That's why you don't want to be able to call the cops on the money mule. Money mules are innocent until proven guilty. That's the whole point. You can't call the cops on a money mule. That's why in our trilogy videos, and you saw examples of it, you saw Art and Ashton dance around the mule saying, we're going to call the police, but they're not, because if they did, the cops will say, there's nothing we can do. What's the crime? Well, it was clear the old man had $30,000. Well, no, he didn't. And the cops say, we can't do a thing. We got to walk away. Because if they did touch the money mule, they have a lawsuit on their hands. That person's civil rights have been broken. That's why. And you don't want the cops to be able to just show up at your house because somebody called you. That's what scammers use to their advantage. So this money mule network is a workaround. And the only fix that will fix that would be an act of Congress that could somehow anchor a law, one that everybody understands. Because remember, criminals like to break laws, so if you make laws, they're going to break them. But if they can find a way to make money muling difficult, that's the best. That's one way. That's one way. Another way is for the United States to go to India, and this is where it gets tricky, convince them. It used to be through sanctioning, not so much with the dollar disappearing, but do some form of coercion with India to tell them they need to do better. They've done it with Jamaica. Right now, Jamaica has relaxed its rules to allow extradition of Jamaican nationalists to the American to be convicted. Um, when it comes to that, I mean, you're talking countries pressuring other countries. The other one is the remote utilities. Um, I can create my own remote utility and sell it to scammers. It wouldn't be that hard. I could, somebody will write a remote utility to give to the scammers if the other ones get smart. I love what AnyDesk is doing, blocking the scammers. That was cool, watching what they were doing in real time at the People's Call Center. I thought it was cool. So I guess I am running out of time. I guess the stream is a celebration of scam baiters. I'm proud to be a scam baiter. I'm proud to be included by the other scam baiters. I did a tweet and everyone's liking it. And I'm very proud to know Pierogi and to know, and for you to know, we are literally trying to fight these scammers from every possible angle. We're fighting them from the scam baiting side. We're fighting them by spying on them. We're tricking them on the shipments. We're calling the police when it's appropriate. We're intercepting packages. We're educating the public. So these scammers have a full assault from scam baiters. We are thinking of every possible way of making it harder for these criminals to do what they're doing, up to and including persons like myself and others who understand that these scammers really aren't hardened criminals. They're being tricked, and there might be a way to talk them out of it. So that's what I'm saying. We're trying to get it from every angle, including talking the scammers into stopping it. So that's who we are. We're fighting for our own people. We are trying to take away a dark chapter of information technology, and we're doing everything we can. So that's all I have. I know that was kind of a weird monologue, but it's what I think we stand for. Oh, Night Cop rated me. Thank you, Night Cop. Night Cop rated with 53 people. I'll leave this VOD up for everybody to watch. I basically was celebrating what scam baiting is. We had a great day in YouTube premieres today. Some really dedicated scam baiters produced videos about what we do, and um, it's a big thing. I've dedicated my life to it. I'm going to be creating a cartoon show that illustrates it, and I'm excited and I'm proud to be here. I think I should probably raid some streams. Let me see what we have. I talked my ear off as well as your ear off. I got 5 people on on Kick. I'm gonna send you over to Chessbra. I've been doing that a lot lately. And then over on my Kick channel, I have 64 people. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna send you over to Risky Biscuit.
Jasmina, we were not following you, but we were following you.
I love Risky Biscuit. I'm big fans of them. They are very gifted singers, um, musicians. I love Risky Biscuit. And that leaves us with YouTube. Okay, YouTube. Tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, I am gonna have a live stream. It's called Copycat Radio. So if you want to listen to some really cool music, tomorrow at 10 p.m. you'll see me go live again, and we're gonna play music, and I'm gonna show off my cat. So you guys have a great evening. I spoke from the heart tonight. I'm a scam baiter at heart, and I care about what I do as well as what other people do. And I want to thank you for being part of my show. Have a great evening, everybody.